The glints of silver in my hair shimmered under the candlelight as I sat opposite my husband of 3 decades, Robert, in the lavish setting of Epoch Charme. The night had begun with the hope of shaking up our usual routine. Yet, as our waiter, Ethan, topped off my wine, his touch lingered, sparking an unforeseen rush within me. My pulse quickened, torn between the warmth of the familiar and the pull of something new. What might unfold if I allowed myself to step into this dangerous game, right under Robert's unaware eyes? I'm Vanessa, a 61-year-old with silver strands woven through my hair like the earliest rays of morning. For over 30 years, I've shared my life with Robert. Our days a blend of shared happiness and calm satisfaction, stitched together by habit and certainty. But this evening, as the sun sank below the skyline, Robert proposed we spice things up with a meal at Epoch Charm, a trendy high-end spot, buzzing with local chatter. Entering the restaurant, the atmosphere was captivating. Gentle jazz hummed in the background, blending with the soft clatter of fine porcelain and the murmur of refined chatter. A hostess, Amelia, welcomed us with a grin that hinted at a night beyond the ordinary. With a grace that matched the music, she guided us through a sea of tables to our cozy nook in this splendid realm. Our waiter, Ethan, presented himself with a charisma that seemed to brighten the space. His vivid blue eyes sparkled with a hint of playfulness, his smile utterly charming. There was an allure to him, a draw that made you want to stay in his orbit, to uncover the enigma behind that grin. Robert and I settled in, the menu before us promising gourmet wonders. The chairs' leather was plush, almost enveloping, and the table was arranged with such care it seemed like a masterpiece. I glanced at Robert, his face glowing in the candlelight, and for a fleeting moment, I saw the man I'd fallen for all those years ago. The night was unfolding with a sense of expectation, like the opening chords of an orchestra. Unbeknownst to me, this night would unravel in ways I couldn't have foreseen. As Ethan took our order, his fingers grazed mine, sending a surprising tingle through me. His voice, as rich as the wine he suggested, recommended dishes with a touch of allure, each word a soft brush. A warmth bloomed within me, exciting yet taboo. Robert, unaware of the subtle currents, chatted with Ethan about the wine selection, his tone steady and soothing. But my thoughts were elsewhere, ensnared by Ethan's gaze, his presence like a tempting forbidden prize. The first dish arrived, a delicate medley of tastes that delighted the senses. Yet my focus wavered, split between the meal and the man delivering it. Ethan's movements were like a dance, each action intentional, each smile hinting at something more. As the night wore on, the air grew heavy with unspoken longing. His hand lingered too long as he refilled my glass, his touch a murmur of possibility. I found myself drifting closer to him, the line between waiter and patron fading into something deeper. What could happen in such a tranquil place? The question lingered, as vivid as the fragrance of the roses on our table. The evening kicked off with light pleasantries. Ethan took our drink orders, his voice smooth as silk. Robert, always courteous, picked a bottle of Merlot, while I chose a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. As Ethan walked off, I couldn't help but notice how his uniform clung to his form, a sharp contrast to Robert's softer, time-worn frame. Our conversation flowed smoothly, touching on our kids, our upcoming trip, and the everyday details of our lives. Ethan returned with our drinks, his fingers brushing mine as he passed me my glass, sending a surprising shiver through me. Throughout the meal, he was attentive, topping off our drinks, clearing plates, and engaging us with playful, teasing banter. His focus seemed to settle on me, his eyes locking with mine a beat longer than needed. As the main course arrived, Ethan leaned close to describe the dish, his breath warm against my ear. My heart skipped, a strange sensation. After years of marital comfort, a flush of heat spread from where his breath grazed my skin, down my neck, and through me. It was as if his words weren't just about the food, but stirring something within me, kindling a spark I hadn't felt in ages. Robert, absorbed in his meal, missed the subtle interplay between Ethan and me. He spoke of the wine, its flavors, its depth, but my mind was fixed on the figure before me, Ethan's graceful, purposeful movements. Each time he refilled my glass, his fingers lingered, a quiet vow of something more, something off limits. The room seemed to shrink around us, other diners fading into the background as Ethan's presence consumed my focus. His voice, soft and intimate, described the dish's components. But to me, it felt like he was sharing hidden desires, wants that didn't belong in my familiar life. What was this emotion stirring inside me? It was more than just the thrill of attention. It was a revival, a rekindling of long-buried desires. Ethan's touch, his gaze, they were like keys, unlocking parts of me I'd thought lost to time. As dessert arrived, his hand grazed mine again, this time more deliberate, more suggestive. A flush warmed my cheeks, blending excitement with guilt. His eyes met mine, and in that instant, there was a silent agreement, a shared secret that charged the air between us. The night was winding down, yet the tension between Ethan and me was tangible, a thread of longing woven through the evening. Robert, ever the unaware spouse, discussed our vacation plans, but my thoughts were caught in Ethan's pull, wondering what might happen next in this calm setting. The meal continued, and Ethan's interactions with me grew bolder. He complimented my necklace, his fingers lightly brushing my hair as he spoke. Robert, focused on his steak, seemed blind to the subtle exchange around him. Then, as dessert was served, Ethan slipped a small note into my hand, disguised as adjusting my napkin. My pulse raced as I read it. Meet me in the restroom in 5 minutes. The boldness of it thrilled me, tinged with a stab of guilt. I excused myself, telling Robert I needed to freshen up. My steps to the restroom were tentative, my mind a storm of doubt and curiosity. When I entered, Ethan was there, his presence dominating the small space. Before I could speak, he drew me close, his hands steady on my waist. His lips brushed my neck, and in that moment, all sense fled. His touch was electric, sparking a flame within me I hadn't felt in years. His breath was warm against my skin, his whispers soft and alluring, promising a realm of forbidden delights. I melted into him, the thrill of the taboo overwhelming my senses. "Vanessa," he murmured, his voice a silken touch. "I've been watching you all evening. You're unlike anyone I've ever met." His words were like a charm, pulling me deeper into this secret encounter. My heart thudded, a mix of desire and fear. I knew this was wrong, yet the pull of the moment was intoxicating. His hands explored, tracing my form with a familiarity that was both startling and thrilling. The restroom, once a place of routine, became a stage for our hidden dance. I felt the warmth of his body against mine, the strength of his hold, the urgency in his actions. It was as if time paused, the world beyond these walls vanishing. But reality began to creep back. The sound of chatter from the dining area, the clink of glasses, reminded me of my reality, of who I was. I pulled back slightly, my breath heavy, my thoughts racing. "Ethan, this isn't right," I whispered, guilt now eclipsing the thrill. He looked at me, his eyes still alight with desire, but softened by understanding. "I know," he said quietly, "but sometimes the wrong things feel so right." His words lingered, a truth hard to dismiss. Yet the weight of my marriage, my life with Robert, tugged at me. I reached for the door, my resolve returning. "I have to go," I said, my voice barely a murmur, the thrill now laced with regret. Leaving the restroom, my legs felt unsteady, my emotions a jumbled mess. I returned to the table where Robert was still planning our trip, oblivious to the tempest that had swept through me. Sitting down, I felt Ethan's gaze, a quiet acknowledgement of what had passed. The rest of the night blurred, my mind replaying every touch, every whisper, every forbidden moment. Would this unravel my marriage? The question hung heavy, as potent as the scent of the roses on our table. As I sat, a woman torn between the life she knew and the desires she'd just tasted. The kiss was electric, igniting a fire I hadn't felt in years. Ethan's touch was persistent, his whispers urgent, sending shivers through me. My mind urged me to stop, to think of Robert at our table, but my body responded to Ethan's advances with an unfamiliar hunger. We moved deeper into the restroom, the restaurant's sounds fading to a distant hum. Ethan's hands explored, and I found myself yielding, swept up in a storm of desire and betrayal. His fingers traced my form, kindling a flame that consumed my resolve. Each touch was a whisper, a promise of something forbidden, something exhilarating. The restroom door opened, and for a moment I froze, expecting Robert. But it was just another guest, unaware of our indiscretion. The moment passed, and my resolve weakened further. Ethan's lips met mine again, and the outside world vanished. His whispers grew more intense, his voice a soft caress against my ear. "Vanessa, you're like a forbidden treasure, ripe and tempting." His words were intoxicating, drawing me deeper into this secret encounter. My heart pounded, a blend of desire and fear. I knew this was wrong, yet the moment's allure was overwhelming. His hands roamed, exploring with a familiarity that was both shocking and thrilling. The restroom, once mundane, became a stage for our clandestine dance. I felt the heat of his body against mine, the strength of his grip, the urgency in his movements. It was as if time halted, the world beyond these walls gone. But reality crept back. The sound of laughter, the clink of glasses, reminded me of where I was, of who I was. I pulled back, my breath heavy, my mind racing. "Ethan, this isn't right," I whispered, guilt overtaking the thrill. He looked at me, his eyes still burning with desire, but softened by understanding. "I know," he said softly, "but sometimes the wrong things feel so right." His words lingered, a truth hard to deny. Yet the weight of my marriage, my life with Robert, pulled at me. I reached for the door, my resolve returning. "I have to go," I said, my voice barely a murmur, the thrill now tinged with regret. Leaving the restroom, my legs felt weak, my emotions tangled. I returned to the table where Robert was still discussing our trip, unaware of the storm that had passed through me. Sitting down, I felt Ethan's gaze, a silent nod to what had happened. The rest of the night blurred, my mind replaying every touch, every whisper, every forbidden moment. The encounter grew bolder, fueled by passion and recklessness. Ethan's kisses deepened, his hands more daring. In the heat of the moment, I let go, swept away by the intensity of the forbidden. The restroom, with its elegant decor, became our secret sanctuary. Time seemed to pause as we lost ourselves in each other. The thrill of secrecy, the risk of discovery, heightened the moment's intensity. Ethan's touch was electric, sparking a fire I hadn't felt in years. His breath was warm against my skin, his whispers soft and enticing, promising forbidden delights. I melted into him, the thrill overwhelming my senses. "Vanessa," he murmured, his voice a silken caress. "I've been watching you all night. You're unlike anyone I've met." His words were a spell, pulling me deeper into this secret encounter. My heart thudded, a mix of desire and fear. I knew this was wrong, yet the moment's allure was intoxicating. His hands explored, tracing my form with a familiarity that was both startling and thrilling. The restroom, once routine, became a stage for our hidden dance. I felt the warmth of his body against mine, the strength of his hold, the urgency in his actions, but reality crept back. The sound of chatter, the clink of glasses, reminded me of my reality, of who I was. I pulled back, my breath heavy, my thoughts racing. "Ethan, this isn't right," I whispered, guilt eclipsing the thrill. He looked at me, his eyes still alight with desire, but softened by understanding. "I know," he said quietly, "but sometimes the wrong things feel so right." His words lingered, a truth hard to dismiss. Yet the weight of my marriage, my life with Robert, tugged at me. I reached for the door, my resolve returning. "I have to go," I said, my voice barely a murmur, the thrill now laced with regret. Leaving the restroom, my legs felt unsteady, my emotions a jumbled mess. I returned to the table where Robert was still planning our trip, oblivious to the tempest that had swept through me. Sitting down, I felt Ethan's gaze, a quiet acknowledgement of what had passed. The rest of the night blurred, my mind replaying every touch, every whisper, every forbidden moment. What would happen when I returned to Robert? The question hung heavy, as potent as the scent of the roses on our table. I adjusted my dress, my heart racing. Not just from the encounter, but from the emotional chaos within. The thrill of the forbidden had been heady, but now the weight of my actions pressed down. I glanced at Robert, his face still lit by candlelight, his expression calm, unaware of the storm that had swept through me. The night was ending, the restaurant's charm now a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. Ethan, with his captivating allure, had awakened something long dormant. Yet, as I looked at Robert, the man I'd vowed to love, the gravity of my betrayal hit hard. I knew I had to face my actions. The thrill was fleeting, but the consequences could endure. Leaving Epoch Charm, the cool night air did little to calm my mind, though it brought some clarity. I had to decide what this night meant for me, for us. The drive home was quiet. The car's hum the only sound as my thoughts replayed the evening, guilt and excitement clashing within. Inside, the house was still, its familiar creaks both a comfort and a rebuke. I went through our nightly routine, the weight of my actions growing heavier. Robert, sensing my distance, asked, "Is everything okay, Vanessa?" I nodded, my voice faint. "Yes, Just need a moment. The lie stung, a reminder of the secret I carried. That night, beside Robert, I felt the burden of my betrayal. The thrill of Ethan's touch was gone, replaced by a deep sense of loss. I'd crossed a line, and now I had to face the fallout. His steady breathing contrasted with the storm inside me. In the dark, each shadow seemed a reminder of my choices. I turned to Robert, his face calm in sleep, and my heart ached. This was the man who'd shared my life, my dreams, my bed for over 30 years, and I'd betrayed him. The realization gripped my heart. Would this secret destroy us? Or could it spark a new start? The question haunted me in the quiet night. I knew I had to face what happened, to decide how to move forward. For myself and for us. Morning would bring no answers, only the stark reality of choices made in Epoch Charm's dim light. As I drifted into restless sleep, I knew the days ahead would test my strength, my love, and my honor. The path ahead was unclear, veiled in the haze of my own making. But one thing was certain. The life I'd known, the ease of routine, was forever changed. Now I had to navigate my emotions, my marriage, and my sense of self. As dawn's first light slipped through the curtains, I wondered if a new day could bring new understanding, a new chapter, or perhaps a new end.